Hey, welcome to the Leader Tree, where strong roots become stronger skills. And this is where it happens, right here, where leadership grows. I am your host, Chris Miller, and I am so super excited to have you all here this evening. This is New Year's Eve. 2020 is around the corner, and it is gonna be a bang-up show for the year. I am so psyched, and I am glad to have you here along the journey with me. So we're here today, we're talking about leadership. And I don't know if you people are aware of this, but there's a debate going on. There's a debate going on. Some people believe leaders are born. Others believe they're made. What's your opinion? Mine is that they're made. Here's the deal. I actually had a debate when I was back in the war in Iraq in 2003 with, I don't know. I think there was about 6 of us all together arguing this point. Anyway, it's about bananas, right? And the question came up, does God make the banana, or does the company that's planting the tree grow the banana? So is it made or is it born? You know, it's the same thing. And it went on for 4 days. I swear to God, and I'm not going to give away the answer to what we finally came up with. But it has got to have been the most interesting conversation that I've ever had in my life. Still to this day. 4-day argument about whether or not bananas are made or grown. So, what is your take on it? Leave me a comment, let me know. But, do you think leaders are born leaders? Or do you think that they're made? There's a good argument to both sides. You know, you can say, and it's true, I will readily admit that there are people in the world that are born with certain characteristics that just enamor them to us. You know, that we just hang on their every word, and they can tell us to follow them, and we want to follow them. We want to know more about what they do. Right? We want to know everything about them. We want to know how they did what they did, and why they did what they did, and please tell me what you had for lunch. I really want to know. There's people out there that are that charismatic, you know. They usually become entertainers or whatever. Or social media influencers, I guess. But then there are those that don't have that, gift of gab, they used to call it. They don't have those strengths when they're born. So people like us, we got to learn how to capture people's focus and attention and get them to do the things that we need them to do. We have to learn that, right? So leaders like myself were made, right? But now we've all met charismatic people that suck, right? We've all met plenty of them that just cannot get it done. Right? They have all the promise in the world given to them up front at birth. But some reason they just cannot get anybody to pay attention to anything they do. Right? And maybe you may be listening to this right now and thinking to yourself, that's me. Well, don't feel bad if that's you. You know, it just means that those type of people haven't honed their skill set, right? They may have had a natural ability, but if you don't work on it, if you don't build those roots, you don't have the skills you need to really make it for the long haul, do you? Because here at the Leader Tree, we talk about roots and how building those strong roots become your strong skill set that you need to endeavor to grow. Right? That's why we chose a tree. Because of that ability to grow. Trees will topple over in a minute if they don't have a foundation. So do people. Right? You can't just say, I'm going to wing it, and it always works out. Sometimes it'll work out, sure. But will it always work out? We all know the answer to that. You got to go in prepared, right? And that's what the leader tree is all about. Did you know that, and this is a slightly different topic, and then I'll circle back around. But did you know that in this country, roughly 80% of all Americans have expressed at one point or another that they are unhappy with their job in one shape or form? And usually it has nothing to do with the work. It's usually about the people they're working with. Either they hate their boss, or they feel like they're underappreciated at work and nobody's listening to their ideas. They may have great ideas to improve things, right? But nobody's giving them the time of day, right? And if that's you, then you need to pay attention to this podcast and subsequent ones that we're going to have. Because the purpose of the leader tree is to show us how to overcome those problems, right? Because if you're unhappy at work, that leads to stress. And stress is the number one killer in the country. Stress is so bad. Stress is so bad that doctors factor it in now as a part of your life. Like, okay, it's not about stress, it's about managing stress now, right? Because there's so much of it going on, there's no way around it. Now we're just going to try to manage it. We're going to tell you to exercise more. We're going to tell you to do this and that and the other thing. Take vacations. They used to say you don't need vacations. Then they said, all right, we'll give you a week. Then it was, oh, well, you need 2 weeks. Now people are taking a month. Now they're saying they need to go to a 4-day work week. Of course, I've said that before. But why are they doing all those things? Because stress is killing off America's workers. And why is everybody so stressful? Because they don't understand. A lot of them don't understand that it's not easy to be an American. I mean, you know what? Michael Douglas said it in, what was the name of that movie? The American President, I think was the name of the movie. Anyway, he played a president by the name of Andrew Shepard, I think it was. And he said, America isn't easy. This is advanced stuff, man. It really is advanced stuff. To be an American citizen, you've got to go through some stuff. You know what I mean? We work our tail off just to be poor. Most of the time. Right? How do you get ahead in this world as an American? Well, you ask any other country and they'll just tell you, well, you're born with riches. You're all born with riches. I guess it's in the eye of the beholder. People in Mexico, they make about $1,200 a year, some of them. I couldn't survive off of that a week. So I guess it all is all relative. But to win you got to grow your roots. You've got to grow those skill sets, and you've got to take charge. You're never going to do that if you don't have that foundation. You're never going to take charge and win if you don't have those foundations. Okay? It's like they say about a house. If it's got good bones, everything else is fixable. Right? Do you have good bones? That's the big question. Right? Do you have good bones? So are leaders made, or are they grown? Are they born? I would say they're not born. They may be born with the skill set. They may be born with the talent. But if they don't cultivate it, it's not going to take them far. Cultivating it is the key. Working on your skills, growing your roots. That's the key. Okay? The second part is understanding the world we live in, right? What does it mean to be a leader in the world today? Leaders are few and far between. We're the ones smart enough to pay attention. We don't just go with the flow, do we? We pay attention to what's going on around us. We look for advantages. We seize them. Leadership is a starring role played by a select few that are smart enough to pay attention to what's happening. You don't see a leader taking a back seat in a conversation. It's not how we work. Leaders don't do that. You're not going to find a leader without some sort of input into what the next thing to do should be. And you get a group of us together, you get great conversations about whether or not bananas are made or grown that last 4 days. Speaking of 4-day conversation, one of the things that I've always been fascinated about was the different types of leadership that's out there. And I don't know if you're aware of it. I mean, I study leaders and have, gone to school and done all those things. I don't know if you know this, but there are actually 6 different styles of leadership. And one of them is the democratic style. And I have a really funny story about democratic styles of leadership that I thought I'd share. So there's this boat captain on a cruise ship. And they're headed toward 2 islands, right? And it's surrounded by rocks, and stuff like that. So they're like, well, what do we do? Well, they're a little bit behind schedule. So the first mate suggests, that they head straight through between the 2 islands so they don't lose any more time. And the captain, perks up and listens to him. But then another guy chimes up, I think that was the helmsman, and he says, no, Captain, we really need to go around. There's rocks and stuff like that. We need to play it safe, go around, take the time, go around the outside of the islands. So, long story short, while the captain is sitting there listening to both sides of the story, and he's weighing each of them for their merits and their faults, and he's listening patiently and letting everybody debate it amongst themselves, they ended up crashing right into one of the islands because they're so busy chatting about it and talking about it and arguing about it, they never did anything. So they just ran right into the ground. That's democratic leader for you. I mean, that tells you a lot about the country. In a political situation. We go round and round and round in the political arena, and nothing ever gets accomplished until we just hit ground. So that's a democratic leader. There's also a demonstrative leader, which has some good points. I like demonstrative style leadership because those are the guys that get down to work with you. Those are the guys that say, hey, let me show you how to do this. They won't just tell you to go do it. They'll say, let me show you how this is done. But there's downsides to most styles of leadership too, and one of their downsides, like the Democratic leader who fails to take action quick enough because he's busy weighing the options, the demonstrative leader often gets frustrated if you're not catching on quick enough, and he'll just say, get out of the way and let me do it. Well, that's not teaching you anything, right? If he takes over. So he falls into that trap a lot of times and ends up doing more work than he should. You know, when you're in business, Tony Robbins once said this, and it hit me, and I said, that makes perfect sense. There are two types of business owners. There's a business operator, and there's a business owner. You may think it's better to be the business operator because you know everything that's going on in day-to-day operations. But as a business operator, you're pigeonholing yourself, right? You're keeping yourself down because you could only do so much in a day, right? If you're running the show, the business depends on you to run the show. If you get sick and you can't go to work one day, uh-oh, now what? Nobody knows what to do. That's a problem, right? You want to be the business owner. Show people how to do the job that they need to do. Get out of their way and let them do it. Grow your business. Spend your time. Spend your energy making things happen on the outside to bring more business in your way, to grow your brand, to grow your image, to grow your company. Right? Be the business owner. Don't be the business operator. That's nothing but stress. Right? Oh, God, I got to do this today. Oh, God, I got to do that today. Oh, I forgot this. Oh, now it's going to cost me money. Right? So, but that's the problem with the demonstrative leader, is that they often get in that mentality of just move over and let me do it. Then you have the authoritative leader. The authoritative leader is a take charge kind of dude, right? He's the guy that says, here's what I need done, here's how I need it done, get on it. He'll tell you, boom, boom, boom. He lays it out for you. I like that about him. The downside is he doesn't know what to do if it fails to happen. A lot of times. He's like, I told him. Well, that's not an answer. You know. You can't report that up higher. Well, I told him. Great. Well, how come they didn't do it? I don't know. I'll get on that. Right. So that's a downside. Then you have the transactional leader, which I don't care for the transactional leadership style. You find it a lot in sales organizations where it's all about, you know, what did you do for me today? You know, transactional leadership, it's like you go out there and you make sales, and your boss will give you a reward. He'll say, hey, you go out there and make 2 more sales today, I'm going to give you this Rolex. Okay, I'm on my way out the door, all right, because I want that Rolex. But if you don't sell in a couple of days, he's writing you up too, right? There's a downside of that. He also feels the need to punish you when you fail to perform, right? So, you like the upsides, but you don't like the downsides. The laissez-faire leadership, those guys, you just leave them alone. You give them a general overview of what needs to happen, general guideline, and then let them go do it. Right? Good place to find a leadership like that would be like a lab. You know, like a doctor in a lab who's working on creating some new medicine, or maybe a college professor. They don't want you breathing down their neck, right? They want to be left alone. They're professionals. They can do what they need to do. Just get out of their way and let them do it. But at the same time, if you don't make sure that they're staying on point, they're not gonna, right? They get behind schedule, and then by the time you figure it out, it's too late, man. They're like, oh, I don't know what to do about it now. And then they panic. Laissez-faire leaders are very big on panicking when they screw up. My personal style of choice is the last one. That's the transformational leader. Transformational leader. You love them. You know why you love them? Those are the cats that take all of the good things from the other 5 styles of leadership. They discount all the bad stuff, and they just take the good ones. And they combine them all together and make one kick-ass leader. That's who you should strive to be, if you're not already. So find out what type of leadership you have inside of you. Find out who you are on the inside. And see, what do I need to do to get to the point where I can be a transformational leader? Transformational leaders listen to their people, which is what the Democratic leader does. Right? They listen. They'll get down to work with you and show you what needs to be done. They don't just tell you about it, which is what a demonstrative leader does. Right? They're a buck stops with me kind of group of people, which is what the authoritative leaders do. They say, I'm going to give you the task. I'm going to assign you the task. You follow through with the task. And when you do a good job, they're going to stick up for you, tell you that you did a good job, and then they're going to pat you on the back for it and tell you you've been rewarded. But they're not going to punish you for failing. They're going to train you. Most importantly, they stay out of your way and let you do your job. As a transformational leader, they're building a team. They're building a team. You don't build a team by breathing down their neck and overshadowing them. You build a team by building up the team. That's what laissez-faire leaders do. They stay out of your way, right? So they take all of the good parts and they just combine it up. The end result is you end up with a well-rounded team that just kicks everyone out of the park. Says, I own this place. This is my house. And my boss is the man. So if you're that transactional leader who thinks you got to do reward or punishment, guess what? You can change. If you're that Democratic leader that fails to take action and is busy weighing pros and cons before you do anything, guess what? You can change. If you're that authoritative leader who doesn't know what he's doing, if something doesn't go according to plan, guess what? You can change. Because stress will kill you. And if you're not being the best you could be, which in this case would be the transformational type of leadership style, you're dealing with stress. Got to have strong roots because they build into strong skills. Leaders are not born. We make them. But how do we grow these skills? How do we forward our advancement up? Well, you got to look for things you lack, find those that have those things, and team up with them. For example, I know that I'm no good at paperwork. God, I suck at paperwork. I hate it. But I know Jimmy over there loves paperwork. Dude's always doing paperwork. He loves it. What he doesn't like is talking to people. Maybe Jimmy can do my paperwork for me, and I can hand in his reports and deal with the aftermath of whatever he's got going on. Right? Maybe I could strike a deal with him. That makes me a more effective leader because now my work's getting done better than I could do it because I'm just glossing through it, right? I'm not putting any effort in. He's going to do it right. It gives me more free time to do what I want to do and to get done what I need to do, right? Then I also need to know what my levels of leadership are, right? Because there's the executives up top. Those guys, their purpose is to come up with an overall plan. Then you got the mid-level supervisor. His purpose is to take that vision and make it into an actionable thing. Then he hands it down to the first-line supervisors and tells them, go make this happen. And they send it out to the team, right? So where are you in that pecking order? You got to know where you are. And next week, we're going to talk about how to figure out how to deal with somebody above you that's making your life miserable. Okay? Let me tell you something, folks. If you feel undervalued at work, if you feel like you're being taken advantage of, if you feel like they just don't appreciate you, grow in your roots, build in these skills, you can change that outcome. You can change it. It is possible to be done. I'm going to show you how to do it as we go through all these things as time goes by. But all of this stuff is accomplishable. You got to grow your leadership. Right here at the leader tree. That's what we're going to teach you. And maybe it's better off that you don't. Keep working there. Maybe you want to strike out and work for yourself. Don't give them the power over you. That's what I did. I got laid off. And I said, God, I don't ever want anybody to have the power over my income again. And I became an independent factoring business broker. And I started setting business up. And I work for myself now. You know? I got really good at that. It took me forever. I struggled forever to figure out what was the right way to do business. What worked, what didn't work, etc. I finally got so good at it that I met a guy. His name is Terry Wilson. You should look up his company, TW3, if you're not already there. And he taught me so many things. And one of the biggest things he taught me was, he said, any information can become an informational product. And I had learned through trial and error, through heartache and pain, how to be a factoring broker. And now I have a school. You can visit it, factorcareers.com. Check it out. I have a school that teaches people how to take control of their lives, be their own business, and become a factoring broker working for yourself. So that nobody has control over your income. Nobody has control over your destiny. If you need a change, if you just don't feel like you can make it in the company that you're in, and you don't have the time or the inclination to fix the problems by growing your roots and your skill sets and becoming the leader that is indispensable, then make the change. Get out of there. Start something for yourself. Check out factorcareers.com. It might be up your alley. There's a free course on there that will show you all about what factoring is and see if it's the kind of thing you think you might want to get into. You know? And if you do, give me a call. Let's chat about it, whatever. But regardless, remember one thing. Leaders are made. They're not born. Strong roots equals strong skills. Thanks for joining me here at the Leader Tree. Bye-bye.